you're here to be. Hi everybody, my name is Jenna Coy and I'm going to be your art teacher today. I'm really excited for the piece that we're going to be working on today. It's of a fairy, which is my little obsession right now. I just saw the new Tinkerbell movie and I was like, oh my gosh, I never realized how cool she was. Anyways, I was thinking about it. What if fairies were real? And I came up with this idea that if they are real, then they're really good at hiding themselves. And fairies usually live in trees, and so I thought, well, what if their wings looked like the leaves of the trees? And on top of that, what if the leaves change according to the seasons? And so the picture that I thought of today for us to paint is of a fairy in fall. So it's going to be a lot of fall leaves, and but the trick is her wings are going to look just like the leaves. I thought that would be kind of fun, but I know that you guys are all here to paint and just exercise your creative juices, and so because of that, don't worry about me being offended if you do something different. I actually would love to see your guys' ideas, so you can follow along with me or do your own thing, whichever you like best. And one more thing, so I'm going to be up here teaching. I'm going to just be talking while I'm saying everything that I'm doing, helping you guys see the shapes and the colors and the things that we're putting into the painting. But feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I'm teaching. I will not be offended if you guys are talking. This is your party. You're here to have a lot of fun, and you guys don't have to be quiet and listen to the teacher. I really don't care. I'm totally chill, totally here just to help you guys out with your art, to show you what you can do. And if anyone needs extra help, or if anyone has an idea and they don't exactly know how to pull it off, just ask me and I'll come over and I'll help you. And if you want your fairy to be maybe doing a different pose, I can definitely help you with that. Anything you guys want. Let's talk a little bit more about the painting we're going to be doing today. So this is the painting at like a halfway point. So as you can see, it's just a real big mess of colors, and it looks very beautiful. And that's going to be what we're doing at first. We're going to be just putting the colors up there that we want, and then after we get to this point, we're going to do the wings and define the leaves, like in this picture here, this painting here. So if you look, it's still just that mess of colors, but then just a few little definitions make it look like the leaves, and you don't have to draw out every single leaf, but it's really just left up to you for however you want it to turn out. So I chose to use a lot of reds and yellows and oranges for my colors because I love the fall colors. Red is my favorite color and I love to look at it the most. I chose to make my fairy in a purple dress with yellow shoes and yellow hair, and I put a little bit of orange in her wings to make her a little spunky. You guys can choose what you want to do yourself. If you want to have your fairy have a long dress, if you want to do a Tinkerbell with green, that's all fine. If you want to use a lot of blues, maybe you could do more of a night scene, blues and purples. If you want to have it bright in summer, you could do bright green. But it's really just up to you guys and whatever colors you want to be painting with and whatever colors you want to be looking at. So, let's get started. Now the first thing that we're going to start out with is the sky. We want to start with the thing furthest back and then come forward so that we don't have to end up outlining our characters later. So I'm going to just mix some white with my blue and make a really, really nice light sky blue. And I'm just going to fill in this space and just make a really kind of dynamic shape, but it's going to be kind of like a diamond. Add a little bit more white to it to really just get a nice summery sky feel. And then just go over it with your brush slightly slanted to get rid of the stroke marks. Next, we're going to figure out the placement of our fairy. You can put her wherever you want, in the middle, looking down, looking up from the corner. I'm going to put her to the right side. So I washed off my brush, and now I'm just going to get some yellow because it's a very easy color to cover up later. It's very light. And I'm just going to make a sort of stick figure fairy right here so that I can know later where I want to fill her in. So a wing, another wing, and maybe her arm. Now I just want to start getting some fall colors on the back. We're going to kind of just be a little spunky with our colors and define some leaves afterwards. So I'm going to start with a nice red-orange. So I'm just going to mix my red and orange together until it's a nice color that I like. And I'm just going to start filling in little spots. I want all my different colors to be even. So now I'm going to add a little bit more red to that orange. And I'm going to just kind of put that underneath all these orange ones, just a little bit darker. And I'm doing that because shadows naturally go underneath. Again, don't worry about getting too close to where your fairy's going to be because we're going to paint her on top after all the other stuff is dry. Now I'm going to get some just orange with a tiny bit of red in it and start putting it kind of on the highlight on the top of all of these things. So my orange wasn't light enough since there was a little bit of red in my brush, so I just added a tiny bit of yellow to help get a really nice, vibrant orange. Now most of my orange and yellow is going to be towards the top because those are the leaves that the sun is hitting a lot more. And then I'm going to have a lot more red and even some purple towards the bottom. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit of blue at first in my red and start getting those deep shadows. So I'm going to have a branch coming up like this to kind of have all these leaves connect to. And then I'm going to put another branch just that cuts kind of across the sky to give our fairy, just something to kind of hold on to right there. I want it to look like she's in deep in a tree, but that she's looking through because she's pushing this branch a little bit out of the way. And we're going to have her standing on a branch right here, and that's going to be kind of a thicker one. And we're going to take just a lot of blue with a tiny bit of red for our dark shadow right in here on this tree branch, and I'm just going to have it kind of go right off the page, right off the canvas. And then I'm going to put a little bit of that shadow on the underside of this branch right here, and then again right there. And then kind of make it look like it's still going on. And I'm going to put just a smidge of red on the top for a highlight. So as you guys work on getting all of your colors up on the canvas, you just want to cover it completely. Just remember to wash off your brush a lot and to keep having fun. Kind of a gradient from dark to light right here. Around and then adding in just a tiny bit of purple. Bring it down to the line of this blue so that we cover all of the light. So now that our paint is all dry, I've gone back and I looked at it a little bit and I felt like just this diamond of blue just didn't really fit that much, so I've added in a few specks of white, leaving them close to the blue, just to break up the pattern a little bit and to help it feel like you're looking through the leaves. And once that white dries, we'll go back in and paint the blue over it. But now it's time to turn our little stick figure fairy into an actual figure. So we're going to start by using my small circle brush. This is going to help us to get the shapes and the lines nice and crisp. So we're going to start out by locating her hips. So at the bottom of our stick figure wings is the small of her back, and so just go maybe just a tiny hair underneath it, and that's going to be her hips. So we're going to start by drawing a circle, maybe even an oval since she's leaning over a little bit, peering out, and you can just go ahead and fill in that circle. So now I want her feet to be down here on this, so I'm going to draw a line down to where I want her feet to be. Just draw a little notch for her foot. And now I'm going to cut that area in half. So right there is where the back of her knee is going to be. So what I'm going to do now is take the side of each side of her hips, and I'm just going to make sort of a triangle, but a rounded triangle down to that point where the back of her knees are, just like that. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And now right here at the knee, we're going to make another notch just to come out a tiny bit, and now you're just going to make a line from this point to this point of her ankle, like that. And then as you fill it in, just make it a tiny bit rounded. And the front of her leg, you have the knee right here, and then you just can bring it down just like that. Now add in the second leg right here. Just follow that same line that you did before. Add in a second foot. Remember the little notch, and then the ankles kind of come out a little bit like this. We'll do more of the feet later when we paint her shoes. So now you're going to do a triangle with the point in the middle of that circle of the hips. So if you just kind of, and we're going to off-center it a little bit. We just want a little bit on this side of her wings and a lot on that side because she's leaning over. So cap the triangle and then put a little lid on it right there, leading up to her shoulder. So here's where her shoulder is going to be. So a circle for that. And then kind of a line, but if you want to do a shape, it's a triangle and then the point where the elbow is. Another straight line. Remember that there's bones in our arms, so they bend at one point. Her arm's kind of up like this, pushing over the tree, so we want to have her hand angled like this. Just kind of don't have to draw in all the fingers, but just kind of get the general idea of it and make sure that arm looks nice and straight. So I'm thinking of an upside down purple tulip for a skirt. So I'm going to mix some red and blue, but I want it to be lighter, so I'm going to add some white to my purple. And now I'm just going to follow the line that we already made, but just in a very crisp, clear shape. So I'm going to draw the top of that circle for how her hips are. I'm going to make the petal flip out a little bit. So if you want to, you can draw a circle and then draw little triangles off of it. Here's one triangle for the petals. I'm going to add a triangle. And then this one on this side, we want to have flip out this way. I'm going to make it a little bit of a darker purple for where I fill it in. So then I can have a mid-tone, a highlight, and a shadow on it. So we really want there to be an angle right here, just to help our fairy look feminine. I want my fairy to be blonde, so I'm going to put some bright yellow. And I actually want her hair to kind of flow over her shoulder in the back. And then just put in a few orange stripes. So I'm going to go in, and I really want to make a defined line that this is her stomach, and these are her hips. And I'm just bringing, for good measure, I'm going to exaggerate the figure a little bit more, get a little bit more of that triangle shape. And I'm just going to draw over the foot just like a line, and then just a tiny bit up, and then just give it a little bit of a heel in the back. So I'm going to bring it up and just have a little bit of curviness to it. And then I want to bring this point out, this side of it out. And then you want to just bring it all the way up to a point. Just let your paintbrush flow up into that point. I'm going to have it come down in a curve and just kind of a point. And that's all the leaves really are. It's just an oval, a circle, a rounded shape at the top, and then it goes into a triangle point with a little bit of a curve. Since it's fall, the leaves are crunching, they're losing their shape a little bit. Just putting a few leaves on top. Actually, I'm going to have You don't want to completely outline it, just that little hint. That's what it's looking like so far. I really like it. I really like the leaves up here, and then it's kind of darker down at the bottom. Draws less attention to itself. And with our smallest brush, we're just going to put a tiny bit of white along the back of her wings. And you don't have to draw a solid line across. And I'm going to put a little highlight just right along her back, on the front of her leg, and a little bit on the top of her foot. Just really bring it out. But now all that's left to do is let it dry and design it.